Everything you think you know about human history might be wrong. Not a little wrong. Completely upside-down, world-shaking wrong. Because in 1995, a farmer in southeastern Turkey noticed something strange poking out of the ground on his land. And what he found would force archaeologists to rewrite the story of civilization itself. This is the story of Göbekli Tepe, the oldest temple ever built, and the mystery it left behind. His name was Savik Yildiz, a shepherd tending his flock on a lonely hill called Göbekli Tepe, Turkish for Potbelly Hill. For years, he'd noticed strange, flat stones half buried in the dirt. He didn't think much of them. Farmers like him had seen such rocks for centuries. But one day, he brushed away the soil and saw something carved into the stone. The face of a wild animal, staring back at him from thousands of years ago. Savik told the local museum. They sent archaeologists to investigate. And when they arrived, they couldn't believe what they were seeing. These weren't random rocks. These were massive T-shaped pillars, some weighing over 20 tons, carved with incredible precision, arranged in circles, deliberately buried. But here's the part that stopped everyone cold. The site was 11,000 years old. That's older than the pyramids, older than Stonehenge, older than the invention of writing itself. In fact, it's older than agriculture. And that's the part that makes no sense. Let me pause there, because this is the detail people miss. For over a century, archaeologists had a simple story about human history. It went like this. First, people learned to farm. Farming gave them extra food. Extra food meant they could settle down in villages. And only then, once they had stable communities and spare time, did they build temples and monuments. Göbekli Tepe flips that entire story on its head. Because this temple, this massive, monumental, sophisticated temple, was built before farming, before villages, before pottery. It was built by hunter-gatherers, nomads, people who, according to the old story, were supposed to be too busy surviving to build anything this ambitious. One archaeologist, Klaus Schmidt, spent decades digging here, and his conclusion shook the field. Göbekli Tepe suggests that religion and ritual came first. That the need to gather, to worship, to build something sacred, that this might have been what drove people to invent farming in the first place. Not the other way around. The temple didn't come from civilization. The temple may have created it.so who actually built this place. That's the mystery that keeps archaeologists awake at night. Here's what we know. Göbekli Tepe sits on a hilltop with no water source nearby. That means the thousands of people who built it had to carry water up to the site. The enormous limestone pillars, 20 tons each, were carved from quarries hundreds of meters away, then dragged across the landscape and raised into position. By hand, without wheels, without draft animals, without metal tools. One estimate suggests that just feeding the builders required a workforce of hundreds, working continuously for months. And here's the strange part. There's no evidence of any village nearby. No houses. No permanent settlement, just the temple. So picture it. Thousands of people, from far-off tribes, gathering at a single sacred hill, working together on a project that would take generations. Then, at some point, they carefully buried the whole thing under tons of dirt, and walked away. Why did they bury it? We don't know. Why did they leave? We don't know. Where did they go? We don't know. But the pillars themselves hold the deepest secret. Carved into their surfaces are hundreds of animals. Foxes, snakes, vultures, wild boars, scorpions, birds in flight, and in the center of every circle, two great pillars, standing side by side like silent guardians, each wearing a stylized belt and, in some cases, what looks like human arms and hands. Here's the puzzle. These animal carvings aren't random decoration. They repeat. They pair up in specific combinations. The same animals appear together over and over again across the entire site. That's not art. That's symbolism, possibly the earliest symbolic language ever created. Some researchers believe the animals represent different tribes or clans, each group carving its own totem onto the shared temple. Others think the vulture, which appears again and again, held special spiritual meaning. In many ancient cultures, Vultures were seen as carriers of the soul, guiding the dead to the afterlife. But here's what's truly haunting. On one pillar, there's a carving of a vulture holding a human head in its wing. Some archaeologists believe this could be a depiction of a ritual where the dead were deliberately exposed to vultures, a practice called sky burial. If true, Göbekli Tepe isn't just a temple. It's a doorway into how ancient people understood death itself. So we're left with an even stranger question. After hundreds of years of use, after generations of carving and building and gathering, the people of Göbekli Tepe didn't just abandon the site. They buried it, deliberately, carefully, pillar by pillar, layer by layer. They filled the circles with dirt until the entire temple was hidden beneath the earth. It wasn't destruction. It wasn't a collapse. It was a ceremony, a ritual burial of something sacred. And then they walked away and let the grass grow over it for 10,000 years. Which brings us back to that shepherd in 1995. If Savik Yildiz hadn't stopped to look at those strange stones, Göbekli Tepe might still be sleeping under the hill today. Unknown, untouched, one of humanity's greatest secrets kept safe for another 10,000 years. So here's what Göbekli Tepe really teaches us. That human history isn't a straight line. That we didn't slowly climb from simple to complex. That somewhere, 11,000 years ago, a group of hunter-gatherers looked at the sky, decided they needed something more, and built a monument so powerful it changed the course of civilization, and then buried it, taking their secrets with them. And that's the true mystery. Not how they built it, but why and what they knew that we've forgotten. What do you think they were trying to preserve? Drop your theory in the comments below. And if you want more hidden stories from the ancient world, subscribe and turn on notifications. Because the past is full of places like this, still waiting to be found. Thanks for watching.